Coleman's night here in the night sky of Doha.
Hi, I'm Arup Ghosh. We are opening sports999.com, which is with a Z, the first podcast in what we believe will be a series that will look deeply into world sport and also focus on the South Asian community in Canada, especially in the province of Ontario. Most athletic and sports fans would already know that the fastest man in the world has been suspended for a string of missed doping tests. Christian Coleman, an American sprinter who won the 100-meter title at last year's World Championships and had been the early favorite for the Olympic gold medal at the Tokyo Games, has been given a temporary suspension by the Athletics Integrity Unit last Wednesday. The suspension will last until a final decision is reached at a hearing conducted under World Athletics Anti-Doping Rules or the Integrity Code of Conduct. Coleman had a previous whereabouts charge dropped last year ahead of the World Championships, but the situation is precarious at the moment. Coleman could get a 2-year ban, ruling him out of next year's postponed Olympics. Coleman has replied to the media through his tweets and also on a podcast and various TV interviews. He wrote that drug testers were unable to find him on December 9th while he was shopping at a nearby mall for Christmas presents. That was his third infraction in a 12-month period. You heard right, his third infraction in a 12-month period. Speaking on the subject, we have Sundeep Misra, editor of sports999.com, and the very experienced Dr PSM Chandran, who is a sports medicine expert and has worked as a leading doping officer for the IPL. Dr. Chandran has been a member of the disciplinary panel of the National Anti-Doping Agency. A very warm welcome to both of you. Dr. Chandran, I'll come to you straight. First of all, I want your initial reaction on what is happening to Christian Coleman. He's trying very hard to defend himself. Does he have a point anywhere?
The whole episode is very unfortunate. Here is a case where an top athlete has never been tested positive for dope, but now he has been sanctioned, penalized for an offense which is technically correct in the sense, as per WADA code, it's correct, but it is unfortunate that he missed the 3 tests and never tested positive for any drugs throughout his career, if I am not wrong. And during this last 1 year also, he must have participated in many outer competition testing as well in competition testing, and nowhere he was tested positive. Number 2, I'm sure there must have been biological passport made in his name also. He being a top athlete registered testing pool, there must be a biological passport. Is there any evidence in the biological passport that he has been doping? I don't know. Under the circumstances, on a technicality, he is being provisionally suspended. It's very unfortunate. That's what I can say now.
Dr. Chandran, a quick follow-up here that the doping officers basically said that he did not inform them where he was. They landed up at his house. He wasn't present. And in response, Coleman has been saying that they could have called him. And this is where the sports fraternity in America are divided, because most of them are saying that they are not obliged to call you. You are supposed to make yourself available. You have to inform them. Do you see a point there?
Yes, technically that's correct. You are not supposed to call him because that becomes advance notice for testing. That is not fair. But the point is that if they found him not in his place of residence, which he has given in his initial programming, and they should have, where's evidence there? Coleman is asking for an evidence where they're present at that time in his house or not. Where is why do we want to disbelieve Coleman and believe only the doping control officers? It should be fair. And he says that he got receipt from the mall where he was doing shopping and purchasing items, and the receipt shows the time and date and time when he was present in the mall, which is close by. So that way, why do we disbelieve him? There is a technical aberration he has done, no doubt about that. But being a top class athlete, are you not ready to give some concession to him on his? Why don't we? Why tend to disbelieve him rather than believe him?
Okay, I'll take your point to Sundeep. Sundeep, as we've been hearing, Dr. Chandran is repeatedly saying, what is the need to disbelieve Christian Coleman? What is your viewpoint?
Well, I think, first of all, this news is really not shocking, or let me put it in a different way. It's not really surprising looking at the track record and the technicality escape that he had when he went to Doha for the World Championships. Yes, what Dr. Chandran says is right, that he's never been caught for dope, or he's never failed a drug test or a dope test. But every athlete in the world who's ever been caught has always been caught because he's failed one first dope test ever, you know. But there are a few important facts, like Dr. Chandran pointed out. Coleman has never failed a test. He has denied doping. In fact, he also says that he has never taken supplements of any kind. But these facts are not enough to prove Coleman does not dope. The latest debate is also not whether, whether Coleman doped or not. I think the debate is circulating around the fact whether the sport has any credibility left or not. There is this mad rush now happening that, let's defend Coleman. One should, at the end of the day, one needs to understand that he is a top athlete. He's the world champion. He is the face of 100 meters. He is the face that after Usain Bolt left the track, this is the man that people are going to go to stadiums in the Olympics, in the world championships, in the diamond leagues, or even across track events in Europe and America. The 100 meters, without any doubt, draws the crowd in, draws the fans in, even if it is for just 9.76, 9.69 or 9.8 seconds. But at the same time, there is this massive burden on Coleman's shoulders to make his sport much more credible after all that has been done. Dr. Chandran.
Okay. Let me come in here, and I'll toss a quote. I've been reading this piece by Jonathan Galt from letsrun.com. It's a very interesting and a very wonderful article, and I've learned so much reading about it. So there's a quote from here, from his piece, which says, "If you run too fast or jump too high, you will become the subject of doping speculation. Fans have been burned too many times that some have lost the capacity to believe." Now, believe and disbelieve is exactly what Dr. Chandran was saying, but there is an additional statistic to it, which is very weighty. Now, of the 11 men in history to have run 9.8 or faster, 9 have handed a suspension for an anti-doping rule violation at some point in their careers, except for Usain Bolt, who has been clean right through. Dr. Chandran and Sandeep, what do you think about this?
May I make a remark on that?
Please.
See, the unfortunate thing is every top athlete becomes, whenever an out of the world performance comes in, there is always a suspicion. That is unfortunately what the dope control has led to. Every top class athlete become a suspect. But the point is that you make the WADA code, you make rules and regulations that if you are caught on doping, you should be punished. But here are athletes who are never caught on doping, but on a technicality, why do you want to go after top athletes? Because we need top athletes for sports. Otherwise, there won't be any sports. You don't want anybody to run 10-second 100 meters and pay for the ticket to watch them. Nobody will go to the stadium to watch those athletes.
Agreed.
But the thing is that...
Yes, please go ahead.
The thing is that what the point I want to stress is that two things. One is he never been found tested positive for drugs. Number two, I repeat, say that there's a biological passport made for top athletes, registered pool athletes, a biological passport available, which shows the profile of the athlete, hematological profile as well as the steroid profile of an athlete. And does the biological passport, if it is existing, the name of Coleman, show any doubt about that? Is any indication that he has been doping? If the biological passport also does not show anything, he has never caught on doping. And here is an instance where he was supposed to be in a particular place, but for an hour he went out to do shopping in nearby sports mall. And he has a proof that he was doing shopping there. Why do you want to believe it, disbelieve? Again, I'm asking why you want to disbelieve a top athlete when he has a proof that he was nearby, at a place nearby.
But Dr. Chandran, let me ask you one specific question here. That this is the third time that he has missed a test, and this is where athletes like Michael Johnson, the legend, track and field legend, basically, and I quote him, says that proving your innocence is the very reason athletes follow the whereabouts and testing rules, which he has repeatedly violated. So according to you, you are repeatedly saying what is the need to disbelieve him? Agreed. But why is he constantly missing these tests?
My point is that there should be...
Yes, go ahead.
WADA should not be after athletes to manufacture offenders. WADA should not be running after athletes to manufacture doping offenders. I mean, manufacture doping offenders. That should not be the attitude. The attitude of WADA should be to clean sports. Not to run after athletes and manufacture offenders, create situation they become offenders. After all, wearable class is a very fluid class. There is a lot of criticism regarding wearable class all over the world. When it was introduced, it's still going on. Athletes' privacy tested. Okay, athletes have submitted to the rule because they have no choice. But when you want to see athletes, there is nobody is at par with each other. There are some top athletes who want to keep their privacy, also give them the margin. But the point is that he has been tested umpteen times and he was never tested positive, and then you're hanging on to a thread saying that he missed a test, though he should be positive. What?
Got your point, because Sandeep, I was listening to this Christian Coleman interview to CNN, and he very clearly says that I have been tested so many times. The same point Dr. Chandran is making, and he says I've always come clean. You want to come in on that?
Yeah, there are 2 points here. I mean, Coleman's timings are not, to speak in Coleman's defense. For a second, let's defend the man. Let's defend the world's fastest athlete at the moment. His timings were not out of the ordinary. He just didn't jump onto the track and then run so fast. I mean, in 2015, he's run 10:18. In 2016, he's run 9.95. In 17, he's run 9.82. In 18, he's run 9.79. And last year at Doha, he's run 9.76. So there is a certain progression that the athlete is going through. Now, a lot of people out there looking at the credibility of the sport can always say that, this is all dope induced and this and that. But that is the world we live in right now. That is the defense of Christian Coleman, that the progression has been very steady and also extraordinary at the same time. Point number 2, which Dr. Chandran can also come in later, that other athletes are managing to give their tests. So why can't Coleman? It may not be perfect. He's been asked to give 1 hour per day. So pick your slot at 6 a.m., pick your slot at 7 a.m., pick your slot at 8 a.m., but be in home. Just get out of the bed and go give your test. My point is very simple. As a fan, as a journalist, I just have a very simple rule here. If you care about clean sport, you abide by the rules and don't miss all of this. I mean, don't look at technicalities constantly. There are other athletes who are doing the same. Why is Christian Coleman missing 3 consecutive? Why? I mean, that is a question that most people are going to ask. And exactly what you just said right now, that's the question that Michael Johnson is asking.
Sandeep, this 1 hour is, Sandeep, this 1 hour is, mind you, that's every day 1 hour. It is not 1 hour sometimes, every day you have to give 1 hour slot. That is not an easy thing. It's possible, but it is not an easy thing. There may be aberration to that. But again, my point is that suppose one thing, you mean to say that the athlete of that top class who is preparing for the Olympics, he was tested in April. The third test was, the missed test was in April, with less than few months to go for the Olympics. You mean to say that he is foolish enough to take a drug?
Dr. Chandran, I'll just come in. I'm not speaking about, I exactly know what you're talking, or what are you speaking, in the sense that nobody is foolish enough to do a drug test just before the Olympics or whatever. But there are rules. I mean, we know Christian Coleman is the man on whom the entire world athletics is looking to. The fans are looking forward to. They don't want this guy to go under dope, because then the entire, you would remember Ben Johnson and what it created in the entire athletic world. At this point of time, the rules are the same for every athlete. So why Coleman is being given special treatment? That's all I'm asking. Missing 1 test can be excused. Missing 1 test, I'm repeating this, can be excused. But 4 in 18 months shows a disrespect for the process, or for the body, or for the fans, or for the sport. Don't you feel so?
You mean to say that he was deliberately avoiding the test, then he knows the punishment will come? He will do deliberately avoid the test? Why should
Are you also, Dr. Chandran, looking at the divide in the media world right now? Though I know the media is, nobody really bothers about it at the end of the day. It's the athlete on the track. But a world has got divided. I mean, I'm all for the athlete, but isn't there a process? Isn't there a process? And 1 hour in a day. I mean, Christian Coleman is not somebody who's a struggling athlete who finishes 42nd in the world. He finishes at the top. So obviously he has a manager. He has a team. They look after him. So 1 hour.
His third test is in April this year. That means during the COVID time, if I'm not wrong.
The test that they are checking
Yes,
on him right now is the one that was
April.
done in December 9th, 2019.
Okay, let's take
No,
a
no, the
pause.
last
Let's take a pause, gentlemen, and let's hear what Christian Coleman has to say. We'll play his soundbite so that our listeners can hear the big guy explaining his viewpoint.
I mean, messed up would mean that I broke the rules. So I didn't get suspended or nothing like that. So necessarily, I didn't necessarily break the rules. So it wasn't like I was like coming from an apologetic standpoint. It was just saying that, like, you know, this situation definitely could have been avoided had I not forgotten to update and if I had been more diligent.
Okay, now moving on, I am coming back on this chat with 2 points. There are, like Sandeep is repeatedly saying, that his reputation might take a hit because he has avoided these 3 tests. He wasn't available. Dr. Chandran is also saying that there is no reason to disbelieve, and Christian Coleman has a lot to lose if he is hit by a 2-year ban, which also means that he might not play, might not feature in the next Olympics. Okay, now there are 2 views on this. One is the cynical view, which basically says that anyone with as much at stake as Coleman, and who might become the owner of one of the richest contracts in the sport in case he wins the Olympic 100 meters, would only miss 3 tests if he had something to hide. And the more charitable view is that Coleman was careless with his whereabouts information. All 3 whereabouts failures came, according to him, because he forgot to update his location, not because he was purposefully avoiding a test. Dr. Chandran.
Yeah, the question is the 3rd test, the missed test was during April this year. Am I right? The 3rd test he missed was April this year?
The last test that he missed, according to him, was during Christmas, the last Christmas that happened. He said he was out shopping during Christmas. That's when he missed the 3rd test.
Has he undergone any other outer competition testing after that?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
No outer competition. Any competition, outer competition, no. Last test was in December?
December 9th.
So the 3 tests were missed by him inadvertently. You mean to say that purposely missed it?
Nobody knows that, sir.
Yes, my point again is that, again, I'm coming back to the initial point which I made. Being a top athlete, world champion in 100 meters, going to participate in the Olympics, everything at stake. Do you honestly believe that he will do such a mistake of intentionally missing the test, knowing fully well the ban will come? Why don't you answer that question?
Sir, how many times has Justin Gatlin been banned, and how many times has he come back?
Is there an intention behind that?
No, sir. Just hear me out. In 2004, he won a double gold in Athens, and he is still running. He is in 2017 at the World Championships in London, when he finished in the 100 meters, he was booed by the fans. But you know, the sanction here is 2 years and you come back. 2 years and you come back. The life ban was given to Ben Johnson. The life ban wasn't given to Justin Gatlin. They all know they can come back. They all know that, you know, there is a way around. The question, again, we come back to the question of credibility, self-respect, dignity of the sport. You know, by all means, defend Christian Coleman. By all means, give him all the space that he needs. But there is a process. You also follow a process when the dope testings and everything is being done. So when there is a process, why should we break the process? And there is, I'll just give you a remark about, I'm forgetting the name of the athlete. She's the 400 meter hurdles European champion. She was giving a baby, and she was worried at the same time while lying in hospital about her whereabouts clause. She says, it was at the top of my mind that I should fill it up. Now this woman, the 400 meter hurdle.
Well concerned about it. There are some athletes.
Yes, Dr. Chandran, go ahead.
No, that is agreed. Some athletes are very cautious. Some athletes are not so cautious. But again, when will he be taking that grave risk at his career's worst episode in his career? Will he be taking a risk? He is not an amateur athlete who will take a chance like anybody else. He is a top class athlete, and his team. And mind you, they are all work as a team. Even team members will allow such a thing to happen intentionally.
Dr. Chandran, let me ask you a very simple and straight question, because you are the expert and I'm trying to understand, and so are our listeners. These three missed tests, you are saying there is no need to disbelieve Christian Coleman. But what I want to know is that with all the specifications and rules and stipulations that have been set, and the reactions coming in from the athletics fraternity in the US and worldwide, they have taken a very serious view of these three misses. How serious are these three misses? Even if it wasn't deliberate, wasn't Christian aware of the fact that this can cost him very, very dearly?
He must have been aware, sure, he must have been aware if he missed 3 tests, there will be a ban. But will he take a risk of missing 3 tests intentionally? Will he take such a grave risk?
Okay, Sandeep, come in on that. Will he take a risk?
Of course, he will take a risk. I mean, I just go back to the point that was made at the start of this program. 11 men in history to have run 9.80 faster. 9 have been handed a suspension for an anti-doping rule violation. And these are not small names. These are all big names. They all have been handed. Are we saying that they didn't take a risk? There have always been question marks, and they will always remain a question mark. Dr. Chandran, you tell me, if you are the manager of Christian Coleman and you are the person who's advising him, won't you advise him that, just be there for an hour? You got 23 hours to do what you want. You're not training or whatever. You are at home. So what stops him? That is exactly what I'm asking you. What stops him? You are the manager. You are the coach. You are whatever in Christian Coleman's life. So what advice will you give him?
That is my point also. It's exactly my point also. That knowingly his team member should have told him, you need not be there at the time when you are supposed to be there. That my advice anybody will give.
Exactly.
Will anybody give such an advice?
So why wasn't he there?
No, my point is that's what I said. It could be an aberration, a mistake. He has done a mistake. He has gone to a nearby shopping mall. He has not gone out of the state or out of location.
Okay,
he was supposed to be at home.
On this point, let me come in here. Let me come in, Sandeep.
But that 1 hour was given by Christian Coleman to the AIU. The AIU
that
didn't
is given
take on that
3 months in advance. That is not given the previous day. It was given 3 months in advance. So there should be a lapse on that his planning. He must have suddenly decided on a particular day or time to go to the market, nearby market, buy some, do stuff and come back. It so happened that happened to be the time when he has given timing to the International Federation for Dope Testing. It's called a clash with the timing. That is how I see it, because otherwise I don't find a reason why he should be doing it.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Let's. I'll bring in two quotes, two interesting quotes, and let's analyze that further on this topic. One, this quote is in favor of Christian, which says, "My heart, my energy, everything in me goes out to Christian Coleman." And this comes from 110 meters hurdles world champion Grant Holloway, who told the Flow Track podcast on Thursday that we all are human. There's been plenty of times where my window says 9 and I was out to eat with either friends, family. I haven't been exactly where my whereabouts said, and I have lucked up and they haven't come and drug tested me. So this is Grant Holloway backing Christian. And here's another quote which says, "I find it mental that athletes in the USA expect a heads up for a random doping test," tweeted Irish sprinter Leon Reed. Sandeep?
There are athletes who are going to defend him. There are athletes who are not going to defend him. I'm yet to hear somebody from the Jamaican track and field, especially the 100 meters group out there training men's and women's. Even I have not yet read or anything that Carl Lewis, the assistant coach of the Houston University track team, has even defended him. Most of the American athletes like Michael Johnson, all are not exactly defending him. All of them are saying the same thing that I've been saying. Dr. Chandran, in a very different manner, also says that, yes, you should not be doing this. But of course, when it comes to giving space to the athletes, I can understand that space, but the AIU has a job. I mean, the AIU, the anti-doping guys, they have a job. They cannot be there to be able to understand what an athlete thinks or does or where he is. That's not their job. Their job is to look at a particular form that has been filled in and come there on time. And that's exactly what they did. Yes, there is a point here that has also been raised in world athletics, and that is, where is the proof that the AIU person, whoever came in, was there on time and whether he stayed for 1 hour or not? Now, that is where most people in the athletic world are now exactly saying that take pictures, do a video that you're on the door, and then send it in. Because Coleman has also also picked on this and it said, I don't know whether that person was there between that time and that time, the time that was fixed. So I think there are a lot of improvements that are required. And I think most of this is fueling an intense debate that I think should be solved, because if the Tokyo Olympics happen and if Coleman gets banned, the 100 meters is over in that sense. When I say over, I'm not saying it from the point of the other athletes. Yes, fans go to watch others also, but Christian Coleman is big. He is so big that the entire Olympics rests on him. So just imagine the pressure on the IOC, imagine the pressure on World Athletics, imagine the pressure on the sport itself, that should we let him go? Should we release him from this clause? Like what happened in Doha? Would he have done this timing if he wouldn't have gone to Doha? If that technicality thing would have come in, he would have been banned there. And at the same time, like you pointed out earlier in this conversation, millions of dollars are resting on him winning a gold medal. The pressure is immense, even on the US track team. That is what we are all discussing.
On that point, I want to come to Dr. Chandran with 2 points which are very interesting, and that should more or less wrap up our chat. So we are talking about 3 whereabouts failures, which carries a ban of 2 years, but under the WADA code, it can be reduced to 1 year, depending on the athlete's degree of fault. 2016 Olympic 100-meter hurdles champion Brianna Rollins successfully lobbied a ban down to 1 year. Now, Dr. Chandran, is that possible? And do you think there would be leniency shown to Christian Coleman, or do you still feel he can be slapped with a 2-year ban, which might be very detrimental to not only his career, but like Sandeep is repeatedly saying, it takes the fun out of the 100 meters. At the next Olympics, it's like Usain Bolt at his peak, not running in the 100 meters.
I got 2 points to make here. The doping control officer who went to test him on that particular day, when he found him not in his flat and he rang the bell and there was nobody there, he went back. Did he record the statement of any witness? Did he have any witness to substantiate his statement that he was not found at home? Normally, we take this help of a witness, and there's a provision for witness everywhere. And did the doping control officer ask the neighbor that showed the neighbor that I'm present here, I'm going, and some witness he has produced? No. I understand no witness, and the world has to believe the doping control officer, but not Coleman. That is unfortunate. Number 2, okay, this mistest covering a 1 year period is first test, second test, third test, the gap of 3-4 months. But suppose if I am in charge of an AAU in athletics, what I would have done is when the doping control officer went to his flat on that day, he found him missing. And he contacted the AAU. AAU should have told him, okay, next day you go and find him the very next day. Anyway, he has come to the location to test Coleman. Why didn't he make another attempt on the very first day so that you know that he was around or not? Why the attempt was? Why you have to wait for another 3-4 months to do another missed test? Why it was not done on the second day? Another attempt was not made by the doping control officer to test him the very next day. Anyway, the doping control officer has to go from place to places, and if he has reached a location, if he has missed a test.
Dr. Chandran, so quickly, what do you anticipate might happen? With all your experience, what do you think might happen with Christian Coleman?
See, the top athletes sometimes are casual. But I will give you an example. You know, compared to this example I am giving, Lee Chong-wei, badminton world number 1, was caught hydrocortisone offense and he was banned for a few months. You are aware of the case, badminton world 1, Lee Chong-wei? You are aware of the case?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes.
And what happened was, his doctor gave him the during stem cell therapy. The doctor injected him with hydrocortisone, and he never told the athletes that he is giving a drug which is banned by doping WADA. Neither he told anybody that he is injecting the drug. And mind you, the doctor has been treating the world number 1, and doctor pleaded his ignorance of the necessity of declaring it. And any doctor, when he gives any medicine, he can make a record of that. That doctor in Kuala Lumpur did not do that.
Okay, Dr. Chandran, you made your point. I just want to get within a sentence your viewpoint on what might happen to Coleman. Will he be hit by a ban? If so, will it be a 1-year ban, or he might still go scot-free? What do you think?
I can't speculate on. It depends on the hearing panel, who are members of the hearing panel, how they take it.
Okay. Sandeep, coming to you, there is a interesting quote, and we might as well try and wrap up this podcast here. So the quote says, if Coleman is allowed to race at the Olympic Games in 2021, it will set an absolute terrible precedent by our governing bodies, tweeted German-American distance runner Sam Parsons of Tinman Elite. It will open the floodgates for others to successfully cheat the system and ruin the credibility of our sport as we know it.
A lot of people have cheated the system even previously. I mean, like there is a whole list you could write. You could write a complete encyclopedia on it. But again, coming back to Coleman's this thing, the sport rests on him. I think the window has already been given. I think there could be a doubt created on whether the person who went to test him was actually there between that hour that he was there. I think that is the window that most of the argument will be forced on, and that is what Coleman is going to rely on. That is the sole reason why he is so aggressive in his media briefings right now. And I think when you look at the Tokyo Olympics 2021, I still believe, a part of me, the journalist says no, ban him, because it's required. The sport requires these kind of strict rules being adhered to, being followed. But at the same time, the fan inside me says, I do want to watch Christian Coleman. And I think the IOC at times does listen to the fan out there.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Sandeep and Dr. Chandran, thank you very much for your time and listening to this and participating in this podcast. It became quite clear after a point in time that while you have different views, there is a desire to see Christian Coleman run in the next Olympics in the 100 meters because he's a star athlete. Not only is he going to bring in the bucks there, but all the eyeballs will be on him. But I feel that in the end, would he be able to fully reclaim his reputation? And if that does not happen, it would be a shame, because if he's truly innocent, why should there be any question marks? We'll leave it at that. Thank you to both of you.
Let me wish you good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But it's going to be Coleman's night here in